We are officially back in the United States. This part, so south of Calgary, and maybe a little before Calgary, all of our mountains disappeared, and it's just as far as you can see, nothingness, beautiful farmland.
Oh, it's gorgeous farmland.
It's flat.
We're
we
not,
got a few mountains or little hills over there.
We're not flat people.
We are not flatlanders. Absolutely not. So, I drove the rig for the very first time when we crossed the border into Canada. I mean, literally the first time I'd sat in the driver's seat, and we crossed the border. So, on the way back into the States at Sweetgrass, right at the border of Alberta and Montana. So he drove. And when I tell y'all, he has been a complete, you know what, all morning stressed out about this.
Yes. It's called ASS, is what I've been all morning.
Yeah, I had some other words, but yes, that works. We stopped at the duty shop, the duty-free shop before the border. I mean, right at the border, like not even a block from the border.
Yeah.
I got a couple of t-shirts for the grandbabies. Got him a t-shirt specifically because of today that says, "I'm the nicest asshole you'll ever meet."
That's what it says. Sure as the world.
So, we got some real Canadian maple syrup from Michael.
Yes.
And we got me some vodka. It is Crystal Skull vodka. And it's actually in a crystal skull. And I like that whole myth and lore of all the crystal skulls that are out there that are still yet, some of them are still yet to be found. Look it up, it's really neat. But he had a bad experience at the border many years ago when he was still married. Him and Sherry and the kids were crossing the border at Niagara Falls, right?
Yeah.
And his friends ahead of him, true asshole move, kept yelling back, "Make sure you hide those drugs." So he got pulled at the border.
I've been petrified ever since.
He has. So the big thing I can say about border crossings is just have your stuff together. I had our passports and driver's licenses in our little passport holders. I had paperwork for the rig and paperwork for the Jeep in another holder, including insurance cards. And then I had all of the animals' immunizations and their health certificates also in another little thing. And then when we left the duty-free shop, I kept the receipt out. So coming in, they asked us about the animals, alcohol, tobacco, that kind of thing, how many guns we owned. We did have one shipped to Montana, here in Great Falls, which is where we're headed now. But he kept the paperwork, and I kept it with all of the paperwork for the border. She asked us how many guns we owned, why we were having the one shipped, that kind of thing. But coming into the States, they didn't ask about the animals, but they did ask about produce. So, you know, you never know what you're going to be asked. But I had everything written down. I had written down everything that we bought in Canada, including just refrigerator magnets and the stuffies for the grandbabies. And then I had all of the alcohol that we have on board, which really isn't a whole lot. So going into Canada, you're allowed 1 liter of like whiskey total. And then you're allowed a certain amount of like beers and things like that. But coming into the States, you're allowed a liter of liquor per person over 21. And then you're allowed some extras. Like we have a couple of Mike's Hard Lemonades back there. So I wrote everything down on index cards, and when they asked a question, we just handed them the index card. And I mean, that was less than 5 minutes we were sitting there.
And the beauty of it was, I didn't have to talk. She had it all written down. I just handed him the paper when he asked.
Yeah. He just asked, he did ask where we were going and if we were moving there. So he told them that we were going to North Carolina to see his parents and his family and the grandbabies. He asked if we were moving there. We said no, we'll be coming back through in a couple of months, and that was it. I mean, it was super easy as long as you have your information right. So the big lesson on that is just write it all down. Write down everything. The only thing I didn't write down was the produce. He said no to that question. I just jumped in and corrected him. But I mean, we've got grapes, we've got a couple of tomatoes, and we've got a couple of onions right now because we ate pretty much everything else as far as the fresh stuff that I brought. So if you're ever stressed about a border crossing, do your research, make sure of how much you can bring with you, and write it down, because you'll answer all of their questions before they even get to ask. And it's great. And it's one of those things where you can see the look on their face. Like, they read everything that I wrote and they're like, okay, easy peasy, right? They don't have to ask 1,000 questions. We've got everything ready for them. So being a little over prepared in this situation has been a good thing.
It's been a great thing. You did a wonderful job. You kept me from having to pull over this rig and then search the whole thing.
Well,
Great
I
job.
told the ladies in the duty-free shop, because to shop in there, you actually have to be parked in their parking lot. We had parked just on the other side of the fence just because we're so big, but they had us go ahead and move the rig into their parking lot. You have to have the license plate, make and model and color of your vehicle for them. But when he called me and I told him to move the rig in, it was he doesn't do well with unknowns.
No.
Okay, we're starting a life of unknowns.
Right. Unknowns are tough.
So I told him this morning, he just got to figure it out, because I
Yeah.
can't fix it for him, but I ain't doing this every morning.
Right.
But once we got in there and we were shopping, I was on the phone with him and he hung up on me. So I looked at those women and I said, he's cranky today. I'm just going to leave his ass in Canada. They started laughing. And one lady went, no.
No.
The day was super nice. Everything went great. So we're headed now to Great Falls, Montana. And we're going to be there for a couple of days. We've got some packages that are coming there. Finally, our windshield wipers have been shipped. Yes, we have driven from Anchorage, Alaska, now to Great Falls, Montana,
Right.
through snow, raining snowballs,
Yeah.
rain,
Yeah.
beautiful sunshine, and then we've gone through all 4 seasons, I think 12 times now.
Yeah. With no
So-
windshield wiper.
With
blades.
no windshield wiper blades.
No,
Do not do that.
do not.
We've been very blessed. The rain has not been torrential. It's kind of, you just drive in and out, and we've been very, very, very blessed.
Very blessed.
And we're very, very grateful, but don't do that. Everybody took our credit cards. There was no issues with that. We did see the smoke from the Alcan fires. It is still closed. So our detour that had us going down Cassier Highway, which had us both stressed out because everybody said how horrible it was. There were a lot of pucker moments, but it wasn't nearly as bad as either one of us expected, and it was gorgeous.
Beautiful.
I am so glad we were made to take that detour. That was amazing. But we'll be in Great Falls for a few days. Like I said on the post, I need some grooming. I need my nails done. The dogs have an appointment for grooming because honestly, they just stink. They're dogs. They've been getting wet, snow, rain, and everything else, so they stink. So we're going to get them into PetSmart. He's going to go get a haircut.
Yeah, see, that's a mess.
Yeah, it's a mess. The beard, he is going to try to let grow.
Yep.
He's always wanted a long beard his whole life, so this is the perfect opportunity to just let it grow, let it go. And when we get to North Carolina, him and Christian will go back to their guy, and he'll get it shaped and all that good stuff. But we're not cutting the beard.
No, we'll trim it up.
Yep, my finger is right in the screen. Sorry. So we'll be in Great Falls for a few days. Then we're going to Yellowstone for a couple of days, and then we are boogieing over to North Carolina to get to the family and the grandbabies, and we'll be there for a little bit, and then we'll head back across a different route. We don't know yet, but we'll keep you guys posted. We'll give you some more updates. Eventually, we'll do a sit-down video together and not just him driving, to kind of go over the trip a little more in detail. There were some really, really great highlights and some really crazy moments that we'll go into, but lots of pictures coming, lots of videos coming, and then hopefully some amazing animal pictures from
Can't wait for
Yellowstone.
Yellowstone. That's going to be awesome.
Yeah, super excited for Yellowstone. His mama and daddy went to Yellowstone back in the 80s, and I was talking to her about it, so she was giving us a lot of tips and places and things to do, and so we're really excited to go hit the spots that they got to hit back in the 80s. And then she's got her pictures still, so we're going to compare pictures to see how much it's changed. So that'll be super cool. Love you guys. We'll talk to you soon. We'll give you some updates once we get to Great Falls, and we can actually sit in one place more than a day. So this is the first time we're actually doing that. We're actually going to a campground at the KOA in Great Falls.
Yes, we are.
All right. Love you guys.
Bye.